Good evening, everyone. Thank you so very much for joining us tonight. My name is Tanisha Nicole, and I am the live events coordinator here at Button. And I am so excited to be back as your host this evening. This is our third ever Button Poetry Live Quarantine Edition. And if you were with us last time, thanks for coming. Thanks for coming back. If you're new, welcome. I'm really stoked to be expanding this audience as we get together and continue getting this network of viewers. And I hope that you are all ready to sit back and enjoy a wonderful night of poetry that we've got for you. Before we get started, I just want to also thank you for your flexibility in our quick, unexpected reschedule. We just believed that it was more important to give a platform and space for those that needed to be with their communities as well as our own, in light of everything happening with George Floyd and the police brutality that was happening here in our hometown of Minneapolis, as well as across the world. So I just wanted to thank you once again for that flexibility and for still coming out again tonight. We have an incredible show scheduled for you tonight, and I am so excited to get into it. Before we do, I just wanted to, again, extend the invitation to invite your friends. This is a free event. Share the link. Give them something to watch. Mondays can be really hard, especially after a holiday weekend. So what better way to get into your week than with some great poetry? And we have 4 amazing authors as well as forthcoming folks on our lineup tonight, and I can't wait. I realize how important it is to come together and support each other at this time. So please, if you like what you're hearing, consider tipping our performers via the Button Poetry PayPal link, which will be found on various screens throughout the show. This will all be able to go back to our artists and support them in this time. And be sure to stay tuned for some exclusive discounts at the Button shop, because we want to thank you for your time with us tonight by giving back a little bit. That's enough about me. You didn't come here to see me. You came here to see our amazing artists. Our lineup tonight consists of Claire, and Claire Schwartz is an amazing poet whose poetry has appeared in the Apogee, Beloit Poetry Journal, the Massachusetts Review, and the Prairie Schooner. And her essays, reviews, and interviews are in the Iowa Review, Los Angeles Review of Books, Virginia Quarterly Review, and elsewhere. She has recently received her PhD in African American Studies and American Studies from Yale, so give it up for Claire. And another amazing thing about Claire is that she was the co-winner of the 2016 Button Poetry Chapbook Contest with her limited collection Bound. And while that chapbook has completed its run, we are still incredibly excited to have Claire with us this evening to share with us her work and other projects. So everyone, with your virtual applause, please help me as we bring up Claire to the mic.
Hello. Hi, this is my first virtual reading, so I'm really excited about it. Thank you so much, Tanisha, Nicole, and Spencer. And I'm really excited to be here tonight with all of you and to be reading with Jared, Bianca, and Javon. I am going to be reading from a new project that I'm very much like in the beginning stages of thinking about right now, and it's called Civil Service. And so this is a project that's really thinking about all of the kind of violences of empire that aren't those most spectacular scenes of violence, but are the kind of more rote daily ways that empire gets built and maintained. So this project, I'll just explain a teeny bit, and I promise I'm going to jump into the poems soon, but the project is basically a few different kinds of poems. So I'm going to show you, it's very like visual thing. So right now I've been thinking a lot about the language that's used to talk about violence. And one of the things that I really love about poetry is that it can kind of pull back the ways that, particularly English, because I'm writing in English, that I'm thinking about is complicit with violence. So when we read a newspaper headline and it says something like, you know, the protesters were shot at, and there's no active voice, there's no agent of the cops shooting. That's a way that the violence of the state is then covered in language. So I'm interested in the ways that poetry can kind of peel back those coverings of the ways that English is marshaled in complicity with white supremacy. So with that introduction, I'm going to start with the prologue of the project, and I'm just going to share the screen because it is a visual project as well. So let me see. How do I do this? Sorry, just bear with me for a second. Chase, can you hold me? Sorry, I'm just going to enroll help really quickly in sharing the screen. Thank you for bearing with me. How do I share this? Oh, here you go. Thank you. Okay. Can you all see the screen that I'm looking at right now? Yes. Okay. The original gesture, the umbilical cord. I, two bodies connected. I breathe for you. I eat for you. I for you. My language can't other than host you. Hosting is not always a posture of generosity. Sometimes it is a posture of control. I come into language having been expelled from your body. I records my absence in you. I records you. Every time I write I am trying to get back to you. Aren't you? Is this a town square or a cell? What's the difference? Difference is the meaning you make. The poem is an event. The poem takes place. That makes the poem a geography. The poem takes place in the meaning you make. The meaning you make with what you've been given. History is the compass. Difference is the poem. Let me say it differently. Don't turn away. Here, please come in. The spine of the book is I. The book is trying to get back to you. Can you hear what is flagging in the wind? Wings, a weathered tongue. Is this a house or a cell? That depends on who locks you in. Inside the milk carton, I, the town square, the threshold, the book, the house, the host, the cell, the hormones, the history, the geography, the poem, the meaning you make. Milk is what happens inside the body, then outside, then inside. It makes you well. It makes you sick. In the arms of the state, care curdles into carcerality. The cell replicates. That is its nature. There is no such thing as free or reduced lunch. The children are missing. Can you see their faces here? Do you consider yourself a part of or apart from? When you are apart from, what do you cast into the distance? A poem is a line cast into the distance. Does that make you a part of? Now Amira is a part of you. You are responsible for Amira. Here we are. It's in your hands now. Okay, so that was the prologue. It's kind of the introduction to the manuscript that I'm working on. And you'll see that I've named this character Amira, who kind of runs down the right-hand margin of the book. So the idea is that the reader is sort of put in charge with caring for this character who we don't know much about, and we don't know if she's on the run or if she's made criminal by the state or exactly like what's happening to her. But that charge is really leveraged to the reader. So that's just for you to know if she pops back up. So the manuscript is really told to this kind of fictional set of bureaucrats, the dictator and this kind of constellation of other characters. So I'm going to read one of the poems from that. Apples. The townspeople paste wax apples on the trees, glow shyly out their windows as the dictator struts past the monument of his father, strutting past nothing at all. Yesterday, the dictator dressed the butcher's boy in the uniform of his own son. Today, at the orders of the dictator, guards shot the boy. In the town of his childhood, the curator is a tourist. He touches his mother with the language with which he does not touch his work. In the painting, bored Eve chomps on an apple. In the tongue of his work, he acquires her. At the banquet, pigs choked with apples, music wrung from the townspeople's anguish. The meat in the soup is human meat. The dictator's ring is made of gold, yanked from the teeth of corpses. The censor bloats with what he knows. His sons bloom in neat rows. An orchard grows inside his wife. He prunes her on Sundays. Under the earth, the butcher's boy, laughing, eats an apple. The core rises, light with rot. The dictator admires the fruits of his land. Okay, I am going to read just 2 more poems. Let me see. Okay. So I have been thinking recently about the way that nostalgia functions to make pasts that were extremely violent seem not as violent, and in particular when people who have been extremely horrible during their lifetimes die, the way that their lives get kind of rewritten and entered into the record of history. So this is a poem that's kind of dealing with that. It's called Death Revises Badly. In the old dictator's obituary, a charming anecdote. When the old dictator was a boy, his father saved his wages for a month to buy his son a watch. The boy, in turn, turned back the watch's hands every day for a month so his father wouldn't lose time on his account. Remember, before he was the old dictator, he was a baby babbling. Now the old dictator speaks 3 languages thanks to his time in the army. After genocide, he took up painting. His paintings manifest a man grappling, the curator attests, size 7. When the new dictator scorned the old dictator, the townspeople awarded the old dictator a new title, compassionate. Look at that soft power, a townswoman cooed, bruised like peaches from the half-off bin my mother uses to make crumble on Sundays. The townspeople collected their best language to offer the old dictator. The old dictator was not home. He had gone to play golf with the new dictator. The townspeople left their gift on his stoop. When the old dictator returned, he adorned himself with the townspeople's best language. He took a dashing photo, which he turned into a Christmas card. He sent the card to the townspeople, required them to display it on their mantelpieces. One day, the photograph finds the homepage. The old dictator has died, the newspaper reports. The townspeople are sad. The townspeople read of their sadness on tiny screens. How tender the old rule appears when you hold it up to the present, like a cashier turning a $100 bill toward the light, squinting, proclaiming it real. Okay, and I will just finish with one last poem, Orderly Conduct. Who wrung your hands, who wrung up your lacy underwear, who tailored your tongue, who danced for the patron, who didn't masturbate for 40 days, who detonated the bath bomb, whose free 2-day shipping, whose pomp and imposter syndrome, whose hearts and minds, who applauded the veterans boarding the plane, who hate read the article, whose title increased, whose art war makes, who took the meeting anyway, whose question was really more of a comment, whose difference of opinion, whose yard side promised peace, whose kitchen was furnished with the tiles from a bathhouse, who brunched about thread count, whose good deed goes. Thanks so much, y'all. Appreciate you.
Thank you so much. Everyone, please give it up one more time for Claire. That was such a rad way to kick off the show. And I gotta say, I'm really excited to see where that final project goes, Claire. So you've piqued my interest. For those of you who have just joined, my name is Tanisha Nicole, and I'm your host this evening. Claire Schwartz has just kicked off our live stream with an amazing set. And earlier, I mentioned an exclusive discount that we'll be running for you tonight. This is the first of probably many times we'll be saying it, but if you use the code July25, you can get 25% off of any order at the Button Shop. And more on that can be found in the chat, or later on in the show, we'll have a screen that tells you a little bit more about that. On deck, we have Bianca and Javon, but our next artist is Jared Singer. Jared Singer is an audio engineer and poet who lives in Syracuse. Secaucus, my apologies, who lives in Secaucus, New Jersey. While he may have physically grown up with his peers, he has never forgotten the imagination, magic, and nerdiness that were the cornerstones of his childhood. He hopes to remind others of these more creative times. Jared's debut collection, Forgive Yourself, These Tiny Acts of Self-Destruction, was released in December of 2019. He has also appeared on the Indie Feed Performance Poetry Podcast, and he has represented New York 8 times in the National Slam level, including 2 final stage appearances at the National Poetry Slam. Jared has long believed in the healing power of mountains, kitties, and the lists of threes. So everyone, please help me in welcoming Jared to the mic.
Hello. Can you all see me? I am not showing on my own screen. Hey, hello everybody. Can I obviously do not hear myself, but can I get some heads up that you all are hearing me correctly? Okay, great, Spencer, thank you. I can be heard. I will begin. Thank you so much for starting off that way. That was incredible. That is not what I'm going to be doing. Now it's time for something completely different. I wanted to thank Button for doing this. I don't know about the rest of you, but I really badly need poetry right now. So yeah, this is phenomenal. I've been thinking an awful lot about what it means to be American right now and what it means to be honest and human. And frankly, I've been struggling with a lot of that. So this is probably not going to be the most uplifting, fun set I've ever done, but I will try to keep it a little light at parts when we can. Okay, I'm just gonna hop right into it. My name is Jared Singer. I am 34 years old. I am fat. I am out of shape, and I have dragged myself past 1,000 miles of hard road. I am also white, which means despite everything I have put my body through, there is a good chance that I will outlive my best friend, even though he is healthy and athletic and exercises. It is because he is Black and too tall to hide in a crowd. And he has a good enough heart that he is compelled to speak when he knows something is wrong, and he is eloquent enough that others might just listen. This is what it means to be American. To know that circumstance will keep you alive while those you admire die around you. Okay, so that's the first one. And I'm gonna do something also about the 4th of July and America, but a little less obvious. This one is in the book. That last one was just written. Being Jewish means always being too much or not enough. It's the 4th of July, a day meant to celebrate freedom and tolerance in a country that seems to have forgotten both. There is less to celebrate every year, but we have the day off, and most of us still have hope that the country can be made better, so we throw a party, not for our country's birth, but for each other. I invite all my friends in a city, even though I know can't come. I want to let the people I care about know it every time I can. Among those who come is the good man. He is the first to laugh, the first to pour someone else a drink, and always, always the first to give you a hug when you are struggling. During a conversation about discrimination, someone mentions that they are Jewish, and the good man, now drunk, says, maybe if you were a foreigner, it would count. Maybe if you wore one of those funny little hats, it would count, but you're nothing. My throat goes dread dry. Shocked horse. He knows that I am also Jewish. Still, he says this looking right at me with a broadening smile, like he is letting me in on the sweetest joke. Later, when I give the toast, L'chaim Tovin Ul Shalom, he asks me, what is that gibberish? Use real words. When he leaves, he hugs me and says, goodbye, brother. It's funny, this new definition of brother. It stings, tastes like ash. Some weeks later, the first time I tell this story on stage, the good man is there. He is the first to come up to me after and says, I can't believe someone said that to you. What an asshole, for a moment, just long enough to decide that this is more important than our friendship. I am silent. Then I tell him, it was you. You said that. He apologizes. We talk it out. By the end, we even laugh. When he leaves, he calls me brother again. It still tastes of ash. We still get excited when we see each other, but I don't invite him to parties anymore, and he doesn't call me brother. He was drunk for both conversations. It's been years. I wonder if he even remembers saying them. I still know he is a good man. It still stings. Okay, now I'm gonna I've got just a couple more from you. Now I'm gonna do one that I think is a little more fun, even though it's not exactly the happiest also. I spent 4 years trying to write a poem about truth and what truth means and how we can be honest. And this is what we got out of it. This poem is called Silence. Samantha, I wouldn't change a thing about our prom night, not even my ridiculous tuxedo. I have spent so many wishing we could have had a different ending. I have lost track of the number of times I called you crazy, and every time I did, I was so of myself. Do you remember that night when we watched the meteor shower and you put my hand on your left breast and offered me? I still can't. All I could say was, Dad, you are the of I have ever met. Thank you. I wouldn't be half the I am today if it wasn't for you. Remember what you said to me the first time I came home with a broken arm? You said, Jared, why don't you just... And I did, Dad. I have spent the rest of my life trying to... so that you would be of me. Okay, if I ever have kids, I'm going to make sure they know one thing. I'm going to make sure they know. And it's all because of you, Dad. The first time a woman told me I was the only fat man she had ever wanted to fuck, I could only say, I almost married her. By the third time a woman told me I was the only fat man she had ever wanted to fuck, I knew to say, I think a lot about the other women I've loved, the ones who never told me why I was desirable, that if they did, they'd say, you see, the thing about the truth, the whole truth, is that it is almost never one thing. I just want to be an honest man while still leaving room for all of the answers. So how come every time I try to hold the truth, it Okay, so now I'm going to do a couple of short ones in a row, and then I'm going to do, I think, one more long one, and then I'm going to be done. Thank you guys so much for having me. I'm super excited to be sharing this night and life and everything with these other poets and with the rest of you. So like, thank you for making what we do like actually a thing. It's pretty great. Okay. I don't believe in luck, but I still carry a $2 bill with me wherever I go. Which is to say, I spend a lot of time hoping that I am wrong. Looking for the next short one I want to read. I have spent the last 34 years learning to manipulate my native language. I used to think that this is what made me special. Now I worry that I have learned to manipulate words so well that even I can't tell when I am lying. I am learning American Sign Language. I only started doing it to flirt with a girl. There are certainly better reasons to learn something, but I can't think of any more honest. In ASL, to miss an object, you moved one hand grasping like it just slipped by you, but to miss a person, you put two fingers barrel sure at your own chin, like without them, living is pointless. I don't know if there's a sign for missing yourself, for missing who you used to be. But if I don't learn to use my words more openly, more honestly, I'm going to need one. Simple truth. I run into the first woman who ever saw me naked at a wedding with her husband. He looks nothing like I do, but she holds him just like she held me, his hands on his body where my scars are. Love is eternal and sometimes unspeakably brutal. I'm going to do one more short one, and then I think, since I've got 8 minutes left, 2 long ones, and then I'll be done. Thank you guys so much. This one's called Resonance. My mother's birthday is the same day someone I know was murdered. I call her every year to wish her a happy birthday, but I can never manage to sound happy. Buying her flowers always feels like buying a funeral bouquet and sending it to the wrong house. This one is called Common Sense. Doing the simple is often the hardest. Take being honest, for example. On its surface, it is the simplest idea in the world. It's an action that does not require an act. Simply don't lie. But it doesn't work like that. The truth is a slippery, obese shadow. If we are diligent and lucky, we can touch the edges of the truth, but never hold it, never keep it. Somehow, if we were able to hold the truth in our hands, the sheer size of it, of everything that it contains, would crush us. But if we want to be a good person, we have to tell the truth. So we try. And this is where things get really hard. Because even if we manage to somehow find, hold, and say the truth, that alone is not enough. Because we cannot merely have truth of words. We must somehow convey truth of intent. There are a lot of true things I want to say that would only serve to hurt people. There are people that I love who are not good people, who believe themselves to be and who can be, but they aren't. The honest thing would be to tell them, but that would only serve to destroy who they are and who they could one day be. So somehow, I must tell them that you need to be better. This is the truth, while also having them understand that I love you and that I will be here into the end. This is what being American means. America is the greatest experiment the world has ever considered. It is one that even our founding fathers knew would fail almost certainly. I look around me and I believe that is indeed what has happened. But if I'm being honest, I also still hope that we can fix it. I hope that there is enough good left under this blood and shadow and hate that one day we could all say again, I am proud to be an American, and not have it be hurtful. I want to be proud, honest, and kind, all in the same breath. Okay, one more, and then I'm gonna just tune out and listen to these poets following up right after me, and I couldn't be more excited to spend the rest of my life just like hanging out listening to poems. So that's what we're gonna do. And I'm gonna end, fuck it. I was gonna end on like a deeply personal note, but we're just gonna ride and end on something really fun because the world sucks and who doesn't need fun? Love 1A. Love can only be described the way it is lived in parts, hoping that the whole makes sense, even though we know none of the pieces do. Love 1A, love is a sandwich. Everything we do can be reduced to the layering on of parts, hoping we get the combination right. Love is a sandwich. Both are silly little things that we created. We put both in our mouths. Love 1B. I fuck like a hurricane, which is to say nothing of its sudden onset or its volume, only that it takes an entire team of scientists to predict when it will happen. I love like a tornado. Here, we will be safe, but around us, things will be destroyed by our excess. And I promise we will not end up in the same place that we started. Love 1C. If there is anything more like the way I fall in love than a children's cartoon, I haven't found it yet. There are 8 women who say that I am the perfect man, that any woman would be lucky to have me. I have asked 3 of them out. They all said no. We still hang out. But boy, it gets awkward sometimes. If there's anything more like a painting of a tunnel on a wall than this, I haven't found it yet. Love, too. Love is the only thing that All of the songs are right about love is all that you need. Love is a code and broken. Hallelujah. Love 3. The heart is a terrible metaphor for love. Please stop using it. Love is not a muscle. It cannot atrophy from lack of use. Love is an organ. It can always sneak up on you. The lungs are a much better metaphor for love. Please always use them. The inhale is that moment of excitement when you meet someone special. The exhale, that feeling of hate we all fear we will feel if this doesn't work. But the holding, the moment when your body is all potential, that moment between breaths, that is love. Love is thank you very much.
Wow. Everyone, give it up for Jared. That was amazing and beautiful. And I always have so many feelings after I listen to Jared say words, so I'm glad that you got to experience that journey with me. I can't believe we're already halfway through our show. This has been beautiful so far, just with our first 2 poets, and we still have 2 more to go. Before I introduce the next poet, though, I just wanted to remind everyone that you can tip your poets tonight. They are working so hard and deserve to be compensated for their art in any way possible. And you can buy their books. You can send a tip directly through PayPal, which can be found here on the slide underneath Bianca's picture. And I just really hope that you're getting as much out of this as I am. So moving right along here, we do have forthcoming author Bianca Phipps. Bianca Phipps is a queer Latinx poet, actor, and teaching artist from San Antonio, Texas. Currently based in Chicago, Bianca's work has appeared in Persephone's Daughter, Blue River Review, Heavy Feather Review, and on Button Poetry. And as I mentioned earlier, Bianca's forthcoming collection, Crown Noble, is currently available for pre-order on the Button Poetry website and will be released next month in August of 2020. So that's a really exciting thing. You can definitely get your hands on it soon. We're super excited to have it into the world. So everyone, please help me in welcoming Bianca to the mic.
Hey, y'all. I am, can y'all hear me? I was supposed to do a sound check and then I got too nervous and I didn't, I'll be honest. Cool. Okay, great. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me tonight. I'm really excited. I'm just going to read some poems from my new book, which is a cool thing to say. I'll just jump right into it. This first poem is called Nina, and it's the first poem of the new book. Nina has the patience to be a pianist. She smiles to hide all her teeth. She puts her left contact in first. She lives in Seattle with her girlfriend and their rescue mutt, Harriet. Nina has a garden that draws all the neighborhood curiosity. Nina works at the elementary school teaching music. Nina is good with numbers. Nina keeps her hair short because Nina didn't braid her self-worth into its length. Nina keeps her hair short because Nina enjoys ease. Nina cries at the movies and everyone hands her a tissue. Nina has 3 siblings because there was no miscarriage. Nina's parents divorced with the same tenderness they used to get married. Nina is honest in therapy. Nina likes to cook for herself. Nina drinks her tea before it gets cold. Nina appreciates process. She fetches fresh vegetables twice a week. It reminds her of her father. Nina doesn't draft his eulogy. Nina calls him. Nina has a good life. Nina knows all good things must come to an end. Nina doesn't write the expiration dates in her planner. Nina likes to say goodbye. Nina has boundaries that bloom like her tulips. She embraces her lover and sleeps without dreams. Nina doesn't carry tension in her shoulders or her jaw or her bite. Nina doesn't search every room for marked exits. Nina is serene. Nina lives in the alternate world where my father won the right to name me. Nina was pulled to the clouds, and I was pressed from the clay. So that's that poem. I was going to practice making small talk in between each poems, then I got kind of weirded out by that, so I'm just going to tell some jokes. Just kidding. I found the next poem. No jokes. Here's another poem. This one is called Crown Regent. Mother is here too. A siren who traded her fins for legs. A champion runner. Could have been a bird. Was a student in dental school. Wanted to be a ballerina. A point guard. A disco ball. I follow mother into all the club bathrooms and meet her eyes in the mirror. Neither of us know how to go home. Mother is a flashing light. A tinny voice on the other end of the phone. Mother has agency. Mother makes her own choices. Is golden yarn. Was spun to save someone else. Mother used to sneak out of her own window. Mother never stopped. Mother made windows out of people. Mother is afraid I'll turn into a mother. Mother is afraid I'll turn. Mother is afraid of my reflection in her mirror. Mother is proud of me. Mother made her own choices. Mother is out there, somewhere, dancing. Mother is a good skater. Mother is a good runner. Mother is a good tennis player. Mother is a good mother. Mother never lies. But I do. I'm glad that Jared brought up having like a set that's not going to be like super uplifting and fun, because I always make jokes that I don't know how to write poems that aren't just sad. But I will write one day, and I'm going to read some poems that I hope are sort of uplifting, at the very least, hopeful. But this one is definitely kind of sad, so I won't lie to you about that. And this one is called Crown Garland. When I found out Stephen was in jail, Stephen is my brother, the middle child, the boy I raised, the boy I fed, the boy with a feral laugh and a homesick cry. Stephen is a piece of my soul, my brother, my child. I was a child when I raised him, children raising children. Then I left. I left. Each thought backwards threatened to turn me salt, threatened to turn me stone, threatened to send him back to hell. It could be any myth. He and I both know the tender way a knife slides out of muscle like a person slides out of the house at night. Blood comes from the holding, and we never grasped how to unfurl our fists. Pride clouds my throat like a bone, and left to choke on curdled apologies. I sound selfish. That's because I am. I could never love him more than myself. Stephen, I apologize too late. I come home and the locks have been changed and the children have been changed too. Stephen, my soul was splintered long ago and the cracks have filled with guilt. It looks like old smiles in the first summer you ran away. Sorry I didn't look longer. Sorry I stopped looking at all. My eyes aren't closed anymore. I keep calling Ollie Ollie Oxenfree. It's getting dark. You can come home now. Safe. You're safe. I waited 2 days to cry. I was going to read poems that are in the book that you all may know, but are a little different now. But I think I'll just leave those in there and save them for another time. So I'm going to read 3 more brand new poems that I've only read out loud once today when I was practicing. And this one is called White River Writes Home, and it is a letter that I wrote. Okay. I love you. I used to want it simpler, yet I am of your mold. The fact of love is all it takes. Like you, I worry what you'd think of me if you knew the whole truth. Dad, I'm just a girl. Clove and cinnamon, 2 clasped daisies, a load-bearing responsibility. I know you love me, Dad, and I know the parts of me you hate. Daughter is not enough context to cover it all. I don't keep you at an arm's length because of your heart. It's mine. My heart is a messy liar. The silence between us shoves everything under the bed. A clean room hides my iridescent heart. A stunted tongue stutters blood over the past and becomes the truth to everyone who wasn't there. A metaphor blurs the face of who you call daughter even when she doesn't call you. I want you to love me, and I want to be the sole bearer of truth. The two are only aligned in silence. So I was quiet. I need to be loud now, Dad. I need my love to gleam in the sunlight. I used to dream we remained as ghosts. We haunted a new family and never talked about our own. We ached for the sun. Love doesn't belong to ghosts, Dad. Love belongs to the living. I am alive, Dad. I tended to the blooms I watched you cut at the root. Here is the sun. I could love anyone like I loved that man. And I'd want you to love them like you love me. Honest, unquestioned, shameless. But you can't if you don't know. So now you know. You were always afraid I'd never be able to love. You worried you would scratch that part of my heart to dirt. Love is alive in me, Dad. I love myself. You could give up on me now and I wouldn't starve. But I'd never be full. Forgiveness is not a relentless feast. It is a slow turn towards the light. I ask shame to leave and reverse its mantras. I am good. No parts of me are broken. I am not a shattered mirror. I am a human with a great capacity for delight. I am loved and become love in return. I forgive myself. And always, myself is also you. So that's that one. And I have 2 more poems I'd like to read to you. This one I wrote in a winter tangerine cohort. Shout out to those incredibly talented people for helping me craft this poem, which just sort of like came from, well, a lot of things, but also I just wanted to use a lot of my favorite words in a poem. So just thanks again, everybody, for tuning in and for coming out or staying inside, I suppose, and listening to us. Thanks. This one's called I Am All the Roots. I am swathed in the luxury of wanting, how it maroons me and blues me and crushes me. Underneath, a verdant biome. I unfurl in the humidity, flytrap eyelids with radiant curl and radiant teeth, hibiscus bloom cheeks, clipped bush mouth, all roots running under skin. It's all beauty, really, run by fear. Root veins drink at the feet of anxious electricity. I drip lush negativity. I dress in pretend forgetfulness. I want to be a greenhouse. I want to be a devourer. I want, and it gives me away. I want to be a terrifying unknown, and I want to be loved. I always pick love. I can't help it. I suck at the root of love. I drink at their feet. I want them to pick me, and I let them dress me in green. It brings out the color of me, the color they liked. I pretend to be a girl they will be proud of. I want to be grateful, so I write myself into a garden and let them prune me and harvest. But I did not forget. I am flourish and flesh. I heartbeat. I want and wanted. Worthy outside expectations. I suck at the root of love and am nourished. I am all the roots, remember? I am the humidity bloom. I love and loved. I am afraid and still I live. I live. I live. In the middle of that poem, I got a text from a friend who's watching this right now. So, hey, Kevin, it's good to see you. It's their birthday today. Happy birthday, Kevin Cantor. This is my last poem that I'm going to read. When I started writing this book, I was really interested in sort of like exploring the framework of obviously like the power of language and nature versus nurture and choices and like what makes us who we are. And I became really interested in this idea of this person named Nina, which is, as I said in the first poem, like what my dad wanted to name me. And then the more I wrote about Nina, the more I realized it doesn't really matter what Nina does. This poem is called Nina Redo. Nina doesn't practice the piano. Nina doesn't eat sweet potatoes. Nina doesn't kiss her girlfriend in secret or in public or at all. Nina doesn't know the taste of her brother's cooking. Nina doesn't praise her father's success. Nina doesn't cherish the melody of her mother's true laugh. Nina doesn't craft her children's middle name. Nina doesn't clip coupons, doesn't tend to the tulips, doesn't walk Harriet twice a day. Nina doesn't learn forgiveness is not a metaphor, but an eternal gift. Nina doesn't have the walks to Blockbuster. Nina doesn't have the drive to Disney World. Nina doesn't press the good memories for preservation. Nina doesn't learn that sacrifice is the seed of gratitude. Nina doesn't learn that survival is the sprout of everyone that cried before. Nina doesn't carry her mother's trauma in her locket, her father's grief in her wallet. Nina doesn't carry her parents' love in her spine. Nina can't celebrate her brother's victories. Nina can't call home, call back, call forth. Nina can't live. Nina is the handcrafted portrait of the southern woods at dusk. And I am the view through the window, in motion, untouchable, drenched in the sun. Thanks, Bill. Have a good night. Enjoy the rest of the poems. They're going to be good.
Wow, that was amazing. Wow, I'm so excited that we get to have Bianca's book in our hands in like a month and a half, maybe. Like, I think it's like August 25th or something like that. It's super exciting. I did check online a little earlier though, and I did see that Bianca only has about 36 more signed copies of the book available for pre-order, and it would be so cool if Bianca's signed copies ran out before the book dropped, because that just means all of y'all are showing Bianca just as much love for the actual book as y'all were doing in the chat. So definitely to get that pre-order in and be super excited to read more of Bianca's work, because I know I am. So rounding us out for this evening, we have Javon Johnson. And well, Javon is a lot of amazing things, and I'm just going to read this amazing bio because I don't want to leave anything out. Javon Johnson is an assistant professor and director of African American and African Diaspora Studies, and holds an appointment in Gender and Sexuality Studies in the Interdisciplinary Gender and Ethnic Studies Department at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas. Currently finishing up his first book of poems, Ain't Never Not Been Black, Dr. Johnson is the creative scholar who has mounted exhibitions at the California African American Museum, where he managed the history department. A renowned spoken word poet, he's a 3-time National Poetry Slam champion, a 4-time national finalist, and has appeared on HBO's Deaf Poetry Jam, BET's Lyric Cafe, TV1's Verses and Flow, among others. Dr. Johnson also co-wrote a documentary titled Crossover, which aired on Showtime in collaboration with the NBA and Nike. Y'all, Javon has a lot of accolades, and we need to give it up for Javon. So everyone, with your biggest virtual round of applause, please help as we bring Dr. Javon Johnson to the stage.
Yo, how y'all doing? Y'all good? I hope I can be heard. And because I like Jared, I'm also not hearing myself. Am I being heard? Yeah, okay, good. I see that they say they can hear me. Cool. What up, y'all? First and foremost, thanks for to Button. Let me fix this so y'all. So thanks to Button for doing this. For opening up the space to allow me to be here, but also allow me to hear some really other fantastic writers. Thank you for the folks that tuned in and are still tuned in. Thank you. Y'all are dope. Y'all are beautiful. It seems to me that the theme of the night right now is honesty. Claire started us off by exposing the state and how it uses language, right, to mask its own violence. Jared's desire to talk honestly about his own love and also his relationship to America, but also Bianca talking about love and family. So hopefully I wanted to, hopefully I can continue that honesty. I'm gonna try to take us on a journey real quick. So I'm gonna read poems, obviously, and then we'll air hug, digital hug, however we want to do. If you're good with a digital hug, we'll do that, and everything will be good in the world for at least a few seconds, hopefully, right? I'm gonna start with this joint. I'm gonna do like 2 new pieces that I am still working on. They're still very much so works in progress, so bear with me here. My love is a stubborn Latina whose third language is English, second is Spanish, and her first is the word no. Recently, while traveling abroad, we were looking for a place to eat when she said, quote, if all else fails, we can go to Gino's next door, the restaurant, end quote. Confused, I asked, Gino's, spell that for me, please, to which she said, Ginos, laughing hysterically. I said, I'm pretty certain that's an Italian place pronounced Gino's, to which she responded, straight-faced, you only knew that because you only really speak one language. And although she can be quite challenging sometimes, this is how I know she has a backbone. These days, she is teaching me a little Spanish. And some days she is my love, others she's mi corazón, but every day we are just 2 people learning what it means to love one another across 2 colonizers' tongues. I tell her, like love, translation is indeed a political act. And she listens to me theorize about everything, about love and politics, about race and gender, about tipping and street maps, about tables and what constitutes a tableness. She swears it's cute while most everyone thinks I'm annoying. But this is how I know she sees my backbone. How I know she has found a home in me in the parts that I do not even love. The other day she asked why. Why this Black boy who always speaks about Blackness chose her. I tell her, I don't know. I mean, when I first saw you, you weren't doing anything special, but it felt like you were holding up the entire sky. I remember thinking, you look like everything I have ever said yes to when I first said hello to her. My mouth was a mixtape of love songs I just made, a raggedy cassette, but all I could do was manage to say my name. When she said hello back, everything immediately became a wooden dance floor, God, a bass speaker tucked somewhere in the corner. And in my mind, we danced the same way my mother taught me how to pray intentionally. And with my heart wide open, I remember feeling like I finally found a religion that spoke directly to me. And isn't that worth a lifetime of devotion, y'all? The first time we got into a tough argument, when I made my face to look like everything a good parent teaches their child to turn and run from, she did not. And I thought to myself, is that what woman is? The ability to be comfortable in the face of danger. When the argument got so heated that I started to leave, she first said, well, get the fuck out then. She later asked, where was I going? I said, I don't know. She then repeatedly yelled, don't go, please stop, don't go, please stop, don't, please stop, don't stop. And I panicked. I worried that her neighbors would call the cops on the dangerous Black man. She has come to understand this, and we are learning that love, too, is an act of translation. It is to think about that which you haven't had to before, and the languages are messy. They do not always match up. They spill like pozole or grits. She speaks more languages than me, but she is still learning to say love in Black, what it means to keep this Black boy safe. When she corrects the rolling of my R's, it is more than a lesson in Spanish. She is showing me how to pronounce love in brown, what it means to keep the brown girl safe. And this is how we are learning to love. Para amar, always in multiple languages, and the promise of patience and the openness to explore and be explored, always, always lost in translation. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm gonna switch it up because here's the kicker. Some folks know because I'm not a very overly secretive guy, but so we are about to have a baby in like, yikes, less than a month, and I'm excited and nervous and scared and confused, and I think I know everything, but I know nothing. So I've been writing obviously about that because that you'll write about those things, right? And so I'll do this poem. When Glenn Rice grabbed the last rebound at the end of Game 6 of the 2000 NBA Finals to put away Reggie Miller's Pacers. A then full-haired 21-year-old Kobe Bean Bryant jumped in Shaquille O'Neal's arms. The Mamba went from hugging the big man around the neck like a clingy toddler to throwing both arms in the air as Kobe's legs around Shaq's waist. The giant, almost in tears, held him tightly with both arms. And this is really just a story about two grown men holding one another. The way I think all men really want to be held, especially those of us who have never been able to say so. That was a good time for us LA boys. Master P owned the airwaves and what is a No Limit record except for a hood soundtrack for Black children who dare to dream as if they're bigger than the sky. My uncle used to pile all the neighborhood boys into a brown 1988 Ford station wagon to turn us into a basketball team. All of us dreamed that we would make it to the NBA someday. He ran drills as if he was still in the military, which made sense then because everyone kept calling South Central a war zone. When the Lakers won, battalions of purple and gold flooded the streets. A Celtic jersey was a landmine, and the way we laughed at Clippers fans meant that it was difficult to tell a hero from a terrorist. Some people went outside to shoot their guns into the night sky, and it reminded me that this country becomes this country by shooting into the dark. When the Lakers won, my uncle called and saved my life. He said, we did it, which sounded a lot like I love you. And I believed him. I still do. See, basketball is a Black boy's love language. Magic Johnson fast break is still one of the sweetest things you could say to me. A Kareem skyhook is proof that God does answer prayers, and Nick Van Exel dribbling is still the prettiest love song next to Whitney's I Will Always Love You. But when my Lakers won that title, I got down on bended knee and thanked the Lord back when folks still talked at the end of R&B songs. When Tony blatantly lied to us about the rain in Southern California, Boys to Men would preach slow sermon after slow sermon, and the church stayed packed. Children, so many of us were conceived to that unholy sacrilege of Black sound. And now my wife and I are expecting our first child soon. And I am already so willing to die for her, for this little tiny human I have yet to physically meet. This does not make me a good father. It only means I've barely established a baseline. A low bar indeed, but isn't that what did my father in? His drinking, how he searched for the gospel of Paul in nearly every well. I wish I could tell you more, but I choose to make my memory of him a bit foggy. And isn't that what did Kobe Bryant in? The weather, the crash, and I think of his death and how it allowed so many of us to only remember the good of him, I think, y'all, I wish my father had died maybe a long time ago, not because I want him dead, but because I want to remember him differently. Only the good of him. And this is really just a story of two grown men who've never held each other, who can't remember ever sharing a love language towards the end of her life. My father's mother began to lose her memory, her mind. The San Andreas fault line in her face would crumble whenever she could not remember my name. One time, instead of admitting memory loss, she made up a story about how we had dinner together to soothe my breaking heart. We both knew the truth. We both played along anyway. And I am still unsure of who benefited more. I think of family this way. I imagine our baby to be an earthquake of a child. Hopefully, she will know exactly how to erupt, to rumble, to crack foundation. Hopefully, she will have an attitude like her grandmother's cooking, too much spice for most people to stomach, but we'll like it that way. And she'll tell you that breaking ground is the only way to build mountains. I worry, honestly, y'all, I worry that I won't be a good enough father for her. Unworthy of a girl child born in a pandemic, and how that breaks me. The rupture, the lack of control of it all. I worry that no matter how I try, someday there could be a mountain between her and I. The same one I refuse to remove from my father. I worry that I might become my father, that she'll run from him like I did. And I still miss my city, y'all. Maybe she'll love Los Angeles the way I do. Maybe we'll hold one another tightly, like memories, forever, until they are not. Thank you. Thank you. Y'all still good? Y'all still with me? It's interesting, right? So like, I'm so used to doing like live shows where it's like, I can hear things from people. And so this is an interesting sort of exchange because like, I'm like, y'all still with me? And it's not like y'all are gonna respond. Yes, like, yes, we're still with, like, I'm listening for somebody to say something, but it's not, right? That's not how this works, but it's good. We're figuring it out in the middle of the pandemic. I'm gonna do a short joint, I think, from the book. I'm gonna do a short joint from the book. Let me see, I'm gonna do this one. Everyone had nicknames where I grew up. Big Brown, Banos, Cheese, Crook, E-Love, Pep, Spooky Blood. Blank was a killer and a hood pharmacist. He and I grew up in church together. His grandmother was strict. He was such a good boy on Sundays. What is it for Black boys to live two lives when the world does not want us to live one? Yes, that's that poem. Okay, I'm gonna do this short one real quick. I wasn't gonna do this one, but I like it. So I hope y'all like it. And if you don't, I like it. So it's cool. So here's the kicker, right? Like, I am actually a really, really silly person. I'm more silly. I'm more silly than I am serious. I like read about a lot of serious stuff. I write a lot of serious stuff, but I'm actually a really silly person. All right, here we go. If you told my nieces and nephews I'm like this serious, they were like, shut up, not Uncle Von. He's like, yeah, but here we go. Poem. On learning freedom. The first time I slow danced with a girl was at a backyard party in South Central. It was a sweaty night and the air was too thick for anything but a slow song. I wore my flyest silk shirt, a thin gold chain that danced around my neck. So a thin gold chain, right? So some things never change, right? A thin gold chain that danced around my neck as if it understood the music more than I did. I had a cup full of Hawaiian Punch and 7-Up in my right hand. My back was up against the wall and I was watching all those Black kids learning to get free. Quiet as kept. I was always afraid of dancing, of girls, Just then, SWV's We came on and Tasha yelled, "This is my song," as if she wrote it. And to this day, I want to believe her. Tasha, a dark-skinned Black girl who wore thick, scrunchy socks, airbrush t-shirts, and hoops, and who kept her ponytail on the right side of her head. A few weeks earlier, Oatmeal told me she liked me, and I came to the party to show her exactly how cool I was. Our friends forced us together as she swayed her hips. Oatmeal grabbed me and made me move mine. He whispered in my ear, "You got this." Once everyone stopped watching me fumble my way through the song, Tasha told me to keep my hands around her hips. She held me closely and carefully, taught me how to feel the beat, how to feel the rhythm. You know, she taught me how to move. Yay. So that's that poem. I'm gonna do this one. And then yeah. I think I have time for maybe one and maybe another short one, but we'll see. I'm watching the clock here. Writing, a lesson in proper sentence construction. Writing is a process where you place sentences in a proper sequence. Whenever a single sentence is read aloud, it should be easily comprehensible. Clear and concise sentences are almost always preferable. Example, Javon smiles. See, Javon is the proper noun in that sentence, can be easily replaced by the noun boy. Smiles is the action verb. It does something in the world. If you want to get fancy and color that sentence up, throw in an adjective just before the noun. Adverbs, on the other hand, should always follow the verb in which they are used to describe. Example, the Black boy smiles largely. See, it should be noted that in this sentence, the Black boy is the sentence, not the sentence. The Black boy should not be a lesson in court construction or how the judicial system railroads Black families. In this poem, the Black boy is the subject, the sentence, the object lesson here being is that our courts construct their sentences opposite grammatical law. It is incorrect for a judge to state, "I'm going to go with the state's recommendation and sentence you to X amount of years." Rather, whenever we consider an event to be unfinished and could therefore always happen again, we should use perfect present tense conjugation. And this way, a judge might better state the state has been recommending and been sentencing the Black boy for years. I used to think, y'all. I used to think I wanted to conquer the world. Like any mediocre white man we'd later call great, I thought my life too worthy of a state-sanctioned monument. I believed in the American dream and blind justice. Years ago, I testified in court as a character witness for a friend because I thought all my fancy degrees would matter. The judge gave him a decade for a felony he likely did not commit, but even if he did, what exactly sentence say? What exactly does that sentence mean? His mother wept uncontrollably. The court became a musty Klan's robe before they took him away. He turned to us shackled, but the Black boy could not smile. The Black boy could not smile. The Black boy could not. And isn't that a proper sentence too? Clear, concise, still somehow too long like the sentences Black folk are always given. However, it is incorrect to say that the Black boy was jailed. It is passive. It lacks a subject. Who jailed the Black boy? Who jailed the Black boy? The racist system jailed him harshly. See? Who's doing all the action here? See? No mention of the Black girl. How easily she is erased. See exactly how we are taught to construct proper sentences. Thank you very much. Thank you. So I'm gonna do this last poem. Please go out, buy Claire's book, buy Bianca's book, buy Jared's book. You have the 25% discount. Live it up. You know what I'm saying? Great, some great poets. And I'm just so happy to have been a part of this night. I'm going to end with this, and I wasn't going to do this, but I decided to, in the vein of, what some other folks shared, right? I was feeling the vibe. So I thank the poets who came before me for helping me feel this vibe. Here we go. In this poem, Black people will be replaced by the word America? America has a deep history, can trace its roots before colonial expansion, you know, refuses to be reduced to the slave trade. America never needed a declaration of independence to know that all are created equal. America knows that Lincoln did not free the slaves, knows, in fact, America did. America remembers the Civil War, the Reconstruction era, the birth of a nation, and Jim Crow, knows the KKK. America remembers all the wars. The KKK, I'm sorry, America loves its hoods, but hates the hoods. America remembers the Civil Rights era, remembers all the wars. America is always at war, but America is not as violent as the world thinks it is. America has to protect itself, has to drop bombs. America is the bomb. Change history. America is the history, the present and the future. Oh, America, the beautiful, sleight of hand, quicker than the eye, the way they dodge blades, ropes, and chains, how they constantly pull rabbits out of a hat. Listen, America, Penn and Teller caught bullets in their teeth in front of a live audience. It is widely considered one of the most brilliant magic tricks in all of human history. America must be full of magicians the way they stay catching bullets. The greatest illusion. How the trick is replicated each week. We see Black bodies disappear, yet there's never blood on anyone's hands. Abracadabra, one American video down and the next one shows up. America hates their niggas. America loves their niggas. America is niggas. And when Black people, America, has finally had enough, we will burn this motherfucker down, sip tea, call it a party, a revolution. America is a revolution. America is pimps and prostitutes, preachers and professionals. The first time I knew I was American, American. I went camping. I was surrounded by 2 little white girls and 1 little white boy in what had to be the cutest little Klan rally you ever wanted to see. The air was a whites only sign. They called me nigger like they knew something I did not. I marched away as peaceful as I knew how. Oh, America, imagine the weather, that bloody Sunday, how the arrogant sun had the nerve to still rise the next morning. America is always in mourning, one nation under God, wizards, how they constantly pull niggas out of hats and smile, a confetti of bullets, the misdirection makes us lose sight of all the reasons they needed niggas in the first place. Please remember, in this poem, America was always America. Thank you very much. Thank y'all for sticking around and hearing me out. Y'all be well. Peace.
Everybody, thank you so much for being here. Javon, that was such a phenomenal way to end what has been an incredible night. I am so excited that we got to hear from Claire and Jared and Bianca and Javon tonight, and that we got to really just have those moments with them, and they gave us their time. And thank you for all of our viewers at home that gave us their time. And I've been seeing folks from all over the world. It's so amazing the way that we can just network and connect in a time where it feels really lonely. And as much as I love the idea of being back in person again, I love the idea of our safety more. And I'm so glad to be able to have this happy medium of virtual events in the meantime. If you haven't already, please definitely use that code July25. It gets you 25% off your purchase at the Button Shop, and it's only valid tonight. It expires 12:01 a.m. tomorrow. So definitely get in on that. And lastly, if you want to support our authors, again, in these uncertain times, be sure to tip. You can do so via the PayPal. It is paypal.me/buttonpoetry. You can see it here on the screen. And thank you all once again. Thank you to Sam and Riley and Spencer. They're folks on the back end that make this possible for me to help host and see y'all. And I look forward to seeing you again. Our next event is going to be Sunday, July 19th. There'll be more information coming out about that event soon. It'll be just like this one. It'll be free. Invite your friends, come out. We're going to be seeing some of our favorite faces from the Button Poetry Live stage. So I look forward to that, and I hope that everyone has a wonderful night. Thanks. Be safe. Bye-bye.